Hello, welcome to TrueHoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
Jarod, it's quiet right now. I will apologize to our listeners in advance if you suddenly hear a loud thunder bolt. It's not thunder. We're getting a new roof and it's loud in here. But I asked them to take a break for their lunch while we're doing this. So hopefully they'll do it.
Yes, folks, there was a lot of back and forth over the last few days. As David mentioned, he's getting his roof put on, and we're trying to figure out, well, when are we going to record this show? Because we can't have people banging and scraping and pulling up tile and ripping apart roofs, which if you've ever seen that done, it's loud as shit. Like it's
Fucking
really,
loud.
really loud. As you would imagine, right? You're ripping a house apart, right? Part of a house apart. So...
Yeah.
But we're glad that the roofers have decided to have lunch while we record this as part of our show.
It was strongly recommended they have lunch at noon.
Very good. And I'm glad they took that suggestion.
I don't think there's any complaints. They'll be sleeping in the shade. It's 90 degrees here. They'll be sleeping in the shade in our driveway very soon. I guarantee you.
David, we had some great games last night. These playoffs have just been really, really exciting. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors played last night. The champs staved off elimination with a Game 5 win at home. And, you know, the thing that I took away from that game, David, was a tale of two Draymonds. And I go back to the end of Game 4, a play that you and I talked about on the phone, a play that was discussed ad nauseum on NBA Twitter when the Warriors ran their hammer action to get a weak side corner three for Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
And as part of hammer, right? The ball handler with the ball drives toward the rim, right? When that screen
towards the baseline,
yeah. The players were supposedly open in the corner, right, to catch that shot and take a three. Now, as David said to me, and I asked him, I said, well, within any offensive set, a player has some freedom and liberties to break off from that if they read the defense doing something different, right? If a layup is open or whatever, Draymond could have taken it, right? Like, and a variety of positive things could have happened. Make it, you get fouled and won. Now, all sorts of crazy things can happen, right? Okay. But Draymond, you said to me, odds are in that position, scoring was never on his mind whatsoever. It was strictly baseline to make the pass. Well, go to Game 5. I thought that Draymond was looking to score. I thought he was aggressive in that regard. And when he's doing that, well, then the defense has to kind of pay attention to him a little bit and not just the pass. They have to say, oh, he might actually shoot this ball and score. And the Warriors needed every bit of his 20 points that he poured into that game. And there's a stat out there. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but every time he scores 20 points or more, they generally win the game. That's usually how that works for him because he now becomes not that you're not playing two non-shooters on the floor, right? You're playing someone who actually will put the ball in the basket or attempt to anyway. And so I saw an aggression from Draymond. I also saw an aggression from the Warriors, right? Like one of the things I learned from you is, you know, you can run a play and set screens and cut, but are you doing it with any kind of verve or force? Or are you just kind of jogging and just going through the motions like this is a walkthrough? Well, it didn't look like a walkthrough to me. It looked like they were running hard, setting good screens, cutting hard, and they looked like they were playing Warriors basketball. Now, of course, the Lakers had to cooperate with that and help them do that as well, which they did. But I thought the Warriors, were the more aggressive team last night.
Okay, so when you were just describing kind of going through the motions, I was thinking, well, you watched the Celtics play recently.
Well, I sure did.
We'll get to them. Very quickly on that play in question that we were discussing. Draymond's got to read. Draymond with like 13 seconds left. He could have shot the ball, and you're right, could have got an and one. I thought Klay did a bad job setting his man up for the flare. Which is the hammer pass to the corner, like the drift to the corner, you get screened.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they just didn't execute very good. And Draymond, as you said, it just didn't seem interested in scoring. I thought last night that was the Draymond Green game. Mm-hmm. They could use another one of those.
For sure.
He's only scored over 20 one other time. And I'm talking about going back to the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And that was also in the playoffs, I think, against Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And they won.
Yes.
He didn't do it once the whole regular season. Mm-hmm. I really think Draymond. Have you ever seen in like some of these really cool videos? You'll see like killer whales will toss seals up.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
they're just fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond is so. They're much smarter than seals, by the way, the killer whales, and they're bigger.
And they're way bigger.
I sometimes think Draymond's just too bored scoring. It doesn't interest him. He's got a massive brain. Anyone that watches him realizes he's a brilliant thinker. And, you know, he's lost all that weight from a couple years ago. He can move very nicely. He's not, you would not call him a great athlete, but he's an athlete.
He's very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
And he can run and he can dribble. But this guy who tries to score, like he wasn't just taking wide open layups, he was earning them. He was crafty. He quick attacked one time in a pinch post, turned and scored. He looked to score more frequently. We've seen him. I don't remember the game he scored 21 in. That team last night, for the first time, I thought, oh, this team could win a championship.
Oh.
I've never thought that. And they're down 3-2 with a road game coming to a very good team.
Correct.
So the odds aren't great. But that team with that Draymond Green, knowing that we haven't seen Clay.
Well, we'll get to him.
Yeah. I'm not predicting it by any stretch, but it no longer will be shocking to me when I see Draymond play like that. And by the way, he was also amazing on defense.
Oh, I mean, as he generally is.
He's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable player. If he always played like he did last night, and we could say this for a lot of people, obviously, but he's capable of it, I think. Not everyone is. You're talking about All NBA for sure, because he's so good on defense. And he's so integral to their passing game and their movement game, their screening game, their cutting game. I mean, he's a breathtaking player. He really is a breathtaking player when he looks to score. And I think he has looked to score other times in the series and missed. I just think he's out of reps. He's out of practice. And so I felt like, I always say to players, every miss is a rep. You got to learn from it. And he's learned from it. He made some shots yesterday he had not been making. And so, we're going to do our top 5 later. He's not on my list, but he was so good last night, I wanted to put him there. That's how good he was. He was. One of the Booker's got his games. Harden's got his games. Curry's got his games. This stands up with any of them when you consider it's an elimination game and what he did on both sides, not just one.
Correct. He came out of the gate literally like he was shot out of a cannon.
Made a 3 to start the game. First play of the game, 3.
And
only one of the game.
The idea of momentum and all is a weird, strange thing. But I do believe in the idea that the way their attitude is on the floor and the way they attack certain things can be infectious to your team and your teammates. And I thought that was definitely the case in this game. I was like, this is incredible. And again, to your point, if he plays like that more often, you could see them winning. Now, there's probably a reason he didn't play like that more often. You say maybe somebody's bored with scoring. I may say also, well, maybe the reason why he isn't an all-NBA player every year is because that part of his game is just not consistent. Not only because he's bored, because maybe he just can't do it at that level all the time for whatever reason. I don't know why.
But let's stay on the subject. Your point is taken. It's a fair point. Of course you're right. He isn't doing it, and whether he's capable or not, it's not really all that relevant. I'm trying to find a little relevance to it.
Yes, yeah.
I think that he is.
Okay.
There's nothing. He didn't go jump and dunk over someone.
Nope. He didn't.
This was just their half court Cuisinart. And transition too.
Yes.
He is involved in transition. They clearly, and you wrote this in our notes, they're trying to run the Lakers as we thought they would.
Yep.
Yeah, as they need to.
Correct.
LA's got a good half court defense. So I'm just saying, he does it again. I feel like Steve Kerr saying, Draymond, what's going on? What the fuck? Why have you fucked with us all 3 years? We could have won more.
Wait, David, I have it. I have it. This is what's happening. Draymond saying, okay, cool.
Contract.
Yes.
Oh, I know what you're thinking.
So you decided to give Jordan Poole that money. Okay,
Right.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not really do that offensive stuff all season. I'm going to kind of be in and out. We're going to be about a 500 team. I'm not saying he premeditated plan to punch Jordan Poole in the face, but whatever, it happened. I'm going to add all these things. I know it's all the talk. Draymond, the Warriors moving on from Draymond this season. Warriors moving on. Warriors moving on. Warriors moving on. He has a game like this. Let's just say they do the impossible, come back from 3-1, and he has games like this throughout to win. It's going to be hard pressed for Joe Lacob to be like, yeah, we're not bringing that dude back. It's going to be really difficult to make that call. really difficult. So yeah, this could be Draymond playing 3-dimensional chess, 50 moves ahead.
It really is true. I used to love saying when we would take our kids out to dinner or something, and they would behave beautifully, and I would say to them, "Well, you guys really," I didn't say fucked up till they got a little bit older. Then I didn't mind. I said, "You guys really screwed up." "What's up, Daddy?" "You guys were perfect. That means we know you're capable. So now our expectations have changed." Right? Went to a fancy restaurant. You put on nice clothing. We had other people in the room and in the table, and you behaved perfectly. Yeah, you got to screw it up. We expect that every time now. This is what Steve Kerr's got to say to Draymond. Like, dude, like that's just a cruel tease if you score 4 points the next game. Because here's the thing: the Lakers aren't going to change their focus.
No.
They've got to worry about Steph, and then they have to worry about Steph, and then they need to worry about Curry. Then they got to worry about Steph again. Like he is everything.
Yeah.
So those options are there. We need Draymond, if I'm Golden State, to constantly exploit the one-on-one matchup when even the guy guarding you is more hyper aware of where's Steph. Yeah.
No, 100%. And so you mentioned, I put it in our notes. It is clear. We said this was going to be the plan. The Warriors want to run the Lakers, and specifically, they want to wear Anthony Davis out
and LeBron too. I think
and LeBron, but AD specifically because he is the key to them defensively. Right? We talked about how
very much so.
Well, they put Jermichael Green on him, and AD's like, "Well, screw it. I ain't going out there guarding that." So whoever AD's man is, they're bringing him into the pick and roll action, screening action every single time. Look, it's forcing him to get involved and do stuff. He's got to come out to the perimeter and decide, am I doing? Look,
and he's not a helper.
Yes.
He's not a helper. He's on the ball, and
that is where
they know where he is.
Because your point is, you don't block the shot of the guy who can see you. It's where they can't see you, and that's when he's roaming. When they get to the rim, in the back of their mind, they're like, "Shit, where's AD coming?
He's coming, right?
We don't know where. But he's coming from somewhere."
It's hard to finish that shot, even if he doesn't block it.
Yes,
because you're dealing with your own defender and AD. Steph Curry went at AD.
He sure did.
And AD did. I don't think you'd get him a credit for a block shot. I thought he got one, but they called it a foul. Now that I remember, they called it a foul. But at least he knew where he was. AD was wreaking havoc when they didn't know where he was, when he was just helping. Yeah.
So I think that is very interesting. And, we'll talk about it now. AD got hit in the head inadvertently by Kevon Looney in the game to the side of his eye, which is the side of his head.
Hey, Jarod, I missed this live. Did anyone suggest that it was what you just called unintentional? It was very clear to me also unintentional. Yeah. Was there any suggestion otherwise?
I mean, besides Lakers fans on Twitter who
whatever.
Of course they're going to say it. Of course they're going to say it's intentional. No. Yeah. Nobody on the broadcast that I heard.
He didn't elbow him either. It was like his forearm.
It was just look, I can't stress to fans enough what the area around a basketball rim is like with these big dudes with their freaking wingspans, his arms and elbows everywhere. And because of how tall they all are, that's just shit's gonna happen like that sometimes. It's just weird and unfortunate.
Right. If you watch enough basketball like I have, there's been so many times, hundreds of times, where someone scored and done like and they've almost punched their teammate. Yeah. I've never seen them knock their teammate out. I've never seen them draw blood, but it's always been so close. And that's after a play's over.
Right.
This shit, it was still going on, this play. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it was accident. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure it's clear about that. It wasn't intentional.
No, it wasn't intentional. No. So it's just,
So did he come back in the game?
He did not. So
that's what I thought.
I don't believe so. So
I don't think he did either.
He went back to the locker room, and then Chris Haynes did the report, he's on a wheelchair, and so everybody's going crazy. What does that mean? And I'm like, guys, that's protocol, right? They have to make sure
automatic.
He doesn't have any kind of head concussion or any head injury, brain injury, right? That's why you sit down. We don't want you walking and moving around. End of the game, he's walking out on his own power with his street clothes on. According to Chris Haynes, he did avoid a concussion. Clearly, they ran tests. They're probably running more tests right now in LA to make sure that he's fine, because if he don't play Game 6, they definitely lose in that one. And then it's going back to Golden State for Game 7, which means all bets are off. Look, this is what it was like when the Red Sox came back against the Yankees. I remember saying to Yankee fan friends of mine, I was like, look, y'all better win Game 6, because if it goes to Game 7, you have no shot. And that game was over in the first inning. It was like 7-0. I was like, told you.
That was a blowout, yeah.
I was like, it's just not. And I feel similarly. I'm like, it just ain't going to happen for you in Game 7. I don't know. I could be wrong. There's no crystal ball, perfect prediction. But you give a team that kind of confidence, like, oh, shit, it's even now. Now it's best of one in our building. It's a lot to overcome.
It's fair to say the NBA really wants a game 7.
Of course they do.
Right.
The two biggest stars in the league.
Right. I'm not predicting any nefarious actions by referees. We're all rooting for, except for the LA fans, obviously. But yeah, I don't know if they can win even game 6. The Lakers are a good team.
They have to win game 6 first, for sure.
Lakers are good and loaded, and they have different weapons every night. To our point that we've said before, let's see, AD, does he have the energy? Forget about the injury. Right. I've read somewhere too, I think we may be talking about later, where people are making fun of him being in a wheelchair.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a moment.
Okay. So separate from that, he's been their best player by a big margin.
Without question.
And the Warriors are smart to try to get into him a little bit. Yeah.
No doubt. Sure. Look, the Warriors, this is old hat for them. They've been in this situation before, down 3-1 to Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals in 2016, right? And they came back. Of course, we know game 6 Clay. We'll talk about Clay in a minute.
Down 3-2 against Houston, too.
Yep, correct. We also know that they were up 3-1 on the Cavaliers in the finals and lost, right? So they are familiar with both ends.
I spoke to a Warriors insider about an hour ago, and he had said something I hadn't thought of, but you just mentioned it. The 3-1 story with LeBron. I mean, I'm just stupid for stuff like that. I hadn't thought of it, but this was an insider saying, like, he's not predicting a win. He's just saying it's something we're talking about inside.
Oh, of course they are. Listen, sports has a weird way of kind of making itself into these amazing storylines and these crazy endings. I mean, how would that be for Steph after having lost 3-1 in the finals to LeBron
in a historic situation,
right? Which every Warriors player has said on record numerous times. That is the one they still think about to this day. It doesn't matter how many they win. They still go back to that one, that we lost that one. So wouldn't it be poetic to, well, it's not the Cavaliers, but it is LeBron James, to now turn the tables on him to win after being down 3-1? Of course.
Yeah, I mean, and just because it would be interesting doesn't mean it would happen.
Correct.
Yeah, history doesn't work that way. However, I don't think the Warriors need any more motivation. No. Nevertheless, there's a swagger that maybe comes from it a little bit. Like confidence matters. Sure. They've got it going on after not having it go on, and now they got to win a game in LA, which they didn't. They were a bad road team
all season.
Yeah, they did against Sacramento a couple of times. They did pull out Game 7 on the road in Sacramento. Good home team, very good home team. Yeah, there's an argument that they're gonna pull this one out. They need Game 6 Clay for sure. They need Draymond. They need as many. Well, this isn't rocket science. They need as many things firing at the same time as possible. Correct. Because the Lakers have a lot of weapons too. It should be a great game.
They do. I thought it was interesting in this game. So after game 4, Steve Kerr said in his post-game press conference of the game they lost, we got to work. He's talking about the Lakers flopping and all that gamesmanship that people love to do. And so, of course, Lakers fans went nuts because if you look at the final free throw total at the end of game 5, it was even, right? And look, my thing with that is always about the team that is more aggressive, that puts pressure on the rim and puts pressure on the referees will often get the benefit of the doubt, right? So there's something that used to happen back in the day, right? And you know this, David, I know you don't watch it anymore, but literally if the refs wanted to in the NFL, they can call offensive holding every single time because it happens every single time. It's just, they're not going to do that because we cannot have this game last 17 hours. We have to let some shit slide.
And it's not fun watching a team go backwards.
Correct. You attack the rim relentlessly, you're going to get foul calls. You just will. They're going to do that. And conversely, if you're someone like Draymond and you're a handsy defender and I dare you, call a foul on me every single. They're not going to do it. It won't happen. And so, we'll see if the Lakers adjust to that going forward.
I want to talk about the foul thing. There's also another explanation in addition to what you just said, which is I believe Steve Kerr's been really harping on it.
Yes.
Quit effing fouling. Just stop fouling. They're calling fouls. Stop grabbing guys. Stop hitting guys needlessly. They still are stupid. There's some stupid stuff Warriors are doing. Terrible illegal screens.
Oh, they are the number one team of illegal screens.
But at least they're not shooting free throws off those.
Yes.
It is a point of emphasis in Golden State, and as it should be. I don't know what took him so long. It's always on my Thorpe's rule number 1. Don't fucking foul.
Desperation.
Don't ever fucking foul.
They're down 3-1. That's what it was. Desperation.
Yeah. Wake the hell up. Make them make shots. And what do you know? It worked. What a surprise.
Let's talk. So, Draymond was excellent. And that is obscuring the fact that Klay Thompson has not been good, and neither is Jordan Poole.
Ooh.
And that's kind of a problem because, again, this is a salary cap league. And when 2 of your most expensive players, though technically Jordan's not your most expensive player yet, because his doesn't kick in, I think, until this coming July.
Right.
They need Klay especially to be better, right? Because, first of all, you're a starter. It's not like Kerr can be like, all right, Poole will maybe not give you a ton of minutes. Klay has to play minutes because you start. If you're not giving us anything, and it's not just the shot making, because that comes and goes. Defensively, he is fouling the hell out of, you mentioned Austin Reeves every time. And it's this weird thing where Austin Reeves is like, yeah, I'm going to go at Klay Thompson a little bit here because this seems to be working. He's got to be better, right? Because this team, to your point, you said, I can see this team winning a title. Well, they ain't if Klay Thompson doesn't play better basketball, right? They need him to play well. Because also what's happening, right, as good as Steph is, Steph's numbers, right, if efficiency isn't there as it normally is, particularly from 3, right? And so if Draymond is not going to give you 20 points every night like you think he can and should, well, then Klay's got to be better and Jordan Poole's got to be better, and they both have not been good this postseason.
Yeah, I mean, Klay at least is really trying to play the right way. Jordan is up and down to me. He does a lot of silly things on the court.
A lot.
Yeah, it's I'm sure they're coaching him up. I'm not sure whatever his last game is this year, it might be his last game as a Warrior.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you think now, okay, the die has been cast. Draymond has shown you, look, when I do my thing, clearly, well, first of all, forget even if he doesn't do his thing. It is obvious that on this construction of the Warriors team, Draymond is the second most important player after Stephen Curry. That is very obvious. He's integral to what they do defensively, and they don't do all the fun stuff on offense without his brilliant passing, getting everybody organized. That just doesn't happen. So he's that important. So you're saying, despite giving Jordan Poole the extension, they're like, this is Draymond's the guy we got to keep around here with Stephen Curry, not you.
Or they get rid of him too, which I'm not predicting either way. But I was playing around with it yesterday. Jordan Poole for Terry Rozier sounded crazy.
Yes, on its face, sounds crazy.
But Terry Rozier did not shoot well this year. But one's an offensive-minded player. The other's an offensive-minded player. One's much older than the other. But if you're going to keep everyone else intact, to me, Rozier's a placeholder. The key is I need to find someone else that can kind of do what Jordan does, even without the upside that Jordan has, because right now is all that matters. And this guy doesn't seem happy. Yeah, he doesn't seem happy. So that's why I think he may be gone.
Do they think that could be Moses Moody?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't know what they think, but can he score? I mean, Jordan scores like 20 a game.
He sure does.
Does. I just see like Zach LaVine makes too much money.
He does.
But if the Bulls are looking to tear down, maybe they can do something. Yeah, I don't think Jordan Poole's long for the Warriors anymore.
Interesting. I mean, you're not blowing my mind, but it is fascinating given that, they made the extension. It's just like how one punch and some incidents later can change a whole variety of how things work.
Yeah, I don't think he's happy. When you're calling out Kerr like that, which he did about, playing time, whatever, it just tells me something. Yeah,
no doubt. Keys for Game 6 really quick before we get into this Anthony Davis thing. People are making fun of him. What are you looking for from both sides in Game 6? Obviously, Draymond, you mentioned him doing that again like he did. The Warriors making threes, not fouling. Lakers specifically, what are you looking for on their end?
Well, I'll add Looney to the Warriors. He's been really good, and he's fighting, whatever illness he has. Yeah, it's an issue, and because he can't play as much as they need him to. He's been so solid, defensively solid. Rebounding, he's another Draymond, screening, passing. The Lakers, they've had different guys step up every game, impressly so. D'Angelo, Reeves, Lonnie Walker. I mean, right now he's the hero of the series. That was the pivot. Otherwise, it's 3-2 the other way.
Correct.
You're fighting for your life if you're LA. I'd like to see AD fight. Draymond on AD is a hell of a watch because he's so hard to score on. He's just the best contester. He's the best contester I've ever seen in my whole career. He really is very hard to shoot over. He bothers you. He's definitely long armed, very long armed, not that tall, and he seems to bother AD a little bit. So I want to see AD's activity in transition, how he goes about defending in space when he's being called on all these screens.
Mm-hmm.
Where is help coming from? I think it's an important thing too. Willingness to sub. The Lakers are deep. Mm-hmm. How willing is Ham to sub and make sure his guys get some rest? Because I would not be surprised if AD and LeBron play 46, 44. Mm-hmm. And if they don't get game 6, they're really going to struggle in game 7.
Without question. Is there a way, David, tactically, since Darvin Ham knows the Warriors want to call AD into every action, is there a way tactically to not have him go into every action?
Well, yeah, sure. They can drop and go over the top and drive guys down.
Drop's not great against a team that shoots 3, Steph Curry.
No, because that's what Boston tried in their first almost 4 games of that series. You got to chase over the top and hope that he misses. That's a concern. You can hard hedge, you can flat hedge, you can trap. They can mix it up a little bit. They can keep trying to put him on people they don't want to use to set screens.
Yes. Yeah.
Although they're pretty good at using pretty much anybody. Yeah. They want to get him involved. Transition, they've got to get back on defense. It's hard for them because that's all energy too. And, if they can shoot well, which is always a big thing. You're at home. Who's going to step up? And Vanderbilt's been very average on offense.
So that's the
last 2 games he's played like 22 minutes total.
I'm glad you brought that up. His inability to make a corner 3 is why they keep him off the floor. But they need his defense, so he has to find a way to make shots. So he gets on the floor.
Yeah. Not easier said than done.
Of course.
That's
all right. Let's talk about this AD situation. So look. Inside the NBA is a hilarious show, and it is popular for a variety of reasons. What Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny do is it's hilarious. It's funny. Like, it is not for people looking for deep dive basketball analysis. It's for people who are looking to laugh at jokes and just be like, these guys are hilarious. Watch Kenny run to the board and maybe watch Shaq trip and fall or whatever, right? It's fun and it's all well and good. Last night, after the game, Chuck is just cracking up, like, as the segment's going on. And Kenny's just like, these guys are just over here laughing. He's like, no, I'm laughing at you. And he's like, Chuck, what are you laughing at? Or Chuck, what are you laughing at? I'm laughing at Chuck. He keeps rubbing the papers together, blah, blah, blah. And the subtext of all of it was they're laughing at Anthony Davis because he was in a wheelchair. As you know, that show famously calls him Anthony Street Clothes Davis because he's always in street clothes, meaning that he's never playing games. He's always injured, right? And look, I'm not going to get on here and get on them about that point of it. It's a larger thing for me. Anthony Davis does not want to be injured and not play basketball games. Like, this guy wants to play, okay? And he wants to compete and he wants to win championships and do all the things. It's just unfortunate that however his body is set up and made, right, inherently, he's more prone to being injured and hurt. Some people are just like that. That's just how life goes for you. Those are the cards you were dealt. The problem I have, though, David, is that show has so much power and influence, not over us, but over casual fans. And casual fans matter because that's who the NBA is courting to, right? That's when you're fighting for the attention game pie, that's who matters. Diehards and people like us, NBA is not worried about us because we got you people. You're here for the long haul. But when you hear guys like Shaq and Chuck, who are 2 of the greatest players to ever play the game, their words mean something to casual fans. You're like, I know those guys. Those guys are really good NBA players. They must be right. So whatever they say gets taken as, oh, these guys are right, man. Like, Anthony Davis is brittle. Like, he doesn't care. He's injury prone. He's this, that, and the third. Like, and I think it's just a bad look for the overall selling of the game when that is the NBA's #1 media partner and their #1 show. That is a problematic stance to have.
Yeah, you're right on the body thing. I don't know if I told you this, but I've never had a hangover or gotten sick from drinking in my life. And I drank plenty in college. There is literally something in my head that, and it's happened more than a few times where I'm at like a fancy wedding, and the groom, in one case, it was my brother. It was a bar mitzvah. He had like a special bourbon set aside, like a scotch for me and him. And I waited. He's like, wait till the end of the night. So I've had a few. And the bartender, I says, hey, I'm one of the Thorpes. Like, yes, sir, Mr. Thorpe, Coach Thorpe, whatever. They go get me. And I have one sip, and there's just something in my brain says, okay, you're done. And it may not be that. It might just be a second beer, not a third.
Right.
If I'm not drinking a lot, I don't know what it is. And I was telling some of this one day. I was writing about this one day, drawn on Facebook, and a guy wrote me a private message saying, hey, just so you know, I would do anything to have that voice. I'm an alcoholic. I'll never have it. And then I talked to one of my brothers, and he said the same thing. He's not an alcoholic, but he wishes there was something inside of him. It's not a personal decision.
Right.
I would love, trust me, I had no integrity when I was 22. I was just an idiot like any other 22-year-old kid in college, frat boy. It's just something that says you're done. And I've thrown out gallons of booze in my lifetime because I made it. I had to sip. I'm like, okay, I'm done. We're all different, man. We're like snowflakes that way. I had a player who was so tough, great NBA talent in high school. He got to college, started as a freshman year at a high major school, coming off the Final Four, 7 surgeries in 5 years, between 16 years age and 21, retired. Now he's a very successful businessman. But he would have been an NBA player. I had Howard Garfinkel tell me he was the best passing big since Bill Walton when he was 17 years old. But his body was just constructed a certain way. My brother Mike was doing his MRIs and said, his name is Greg. He said, like this way your skeleton's put together, it's always going to happen to you. And so he was just sick of rehabbing, always in rehab. You're exactly right. AD is not trying to get hurt.
Right.
He's playing hard.
He is.
And so we want to make it seem like it's a personality thing. It's a toughness thing. It's just not true. It's just not true. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, and again, that when Shaq and Chuck say those things, that plays into that, which we always push back against, right? This macho culture of sports. Somehow that AD's not tough. And it's like, that's not what it is, man. Like, it just isn't. Like, I promise.
Not even remotely close to that. Yeah. And especially in the concussion thing. Well, not especially.
Right.
Equally so.
Right.
You get hit in the head. You're dizzy. Your concussion's your brain swelling.
Correct.
Like, yeah, you might have a concussion.
You got to sit down. You're not allowed to walk around.
You're not. Well, would it be smart to let a guy with a concussion that valuable walk around? I would say no.
Correct.
He might get hurt more afterwards falling down than he did before.
Correct. No, it's just, so yeah, that's my thing on that. So it's just, to me, just very silly and very stupid. All right, guys, we will be back after a brief commercial break. Okay, David. Knicks, another team, staved off elimination last night, in part due to Quentin Grimes and Jalen Brunson being Iron Men. Played all 48 minutes of that game, and boy, did they! I
don't know how I missed that.
Boy, did they need all 48 minutes of both those guys.
Yeah, I thought they might lose at the end.
Quentin Grimes' defense, Jalen Brunson was just outstanding. Amazing. He just had an incredible game. Look, as I said in the Warriors game, and we said this about the Knicks Heat series, we were like, we don't think it's X's and O's on the Knicks part. They just got to play better. Like, you got to cut harder, play better, put a body on somebody to get a rebound. They did that last night, right? Like, they were just better last night. And I thought Quentin Grimes, particularly on Jimmy Butler, I thought Jimmy looked indecisive at times about what to do. And that's not the playoff Jimmy we've seen where he's scoring.
You can get under him. Yeah, you can get under. He's a tall dude. I always thought he's 6'8" or 6'9". Someone told me I'm wrong. I'm too lazy to look it up.
I think he's 6'7", that's tall.
Yeah, that's what someone else told me. I thought he was taller than that. When I've been next to him, he seemed like 6'8" plus to me. Super quick. Quicker than almost anyone he faces that are his size and taller. The way to guard him is to get under him. Other than you got to keep off the glass then. And they did a good job of being physical. Everyone that mattered. RJ played really well. Really well. Mitchell was involved in like 10, 11 rebounds inside. Randall was good. Very good. Miami barely made it in these playoffs. And they're missing one of their top players in Tyler Hero. Yeah. Right. So, wouldn't surprise me one bit if it goes 7.
I agree.
Miami's capable of being bad. Doesn't mean that I'd favor them in Game 6 for sure. But it's not like when the Warriors were up 3-1 on the Cavs with LeBron, that we all probably. I did podcast then. Be a shock if they didn't win the whole thing. This would not be that. Right, yeah. If New York gets to Game 7 and wins it, wouldn't be a shock. Yeah. They're not beating the Warriors. Right. Of that season. It's just a Miami team that wasn't so good.
As I said about Miami, that 3-point shooting was going to eventually start coming back to earth. And listen, They were a bottom three-point shooting team all year, and you're without your best three-point shooter. Like, I can't imagine you're going to all of a sudden be the best three-point shooting team all postseason long. Like, that's just, it doesn't work that way, right? Like, and the Knicks had to win the games when it started coming back to earth, and it is. You mentioned RJ. I want to mention that again. He, we were worried about him early in the playoffs. In that
first
Cavs
2 games
series.
was really bad.
And I wonder now, because he's a young player, clearly still. Booing, because same draft class
24,
as John Durant.
24 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He's young, yeah.
Can a performance like this in the postseason be a changing point for him where he starts to put some pieces together? Like, wait a minute, I know what I have to work on now in the offseason. This is the highest level of basketball against the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra, and I'm having good games. And also confidence, knowing I can play this game. Like, I'm good. I belong here. Like, you think that's something that can happen for him?
It works both ways. What you're saying is very true. The difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And this will be the first summer where, at least for some playoff games, he walked the path. He was just a very key player. Human nature is the other side, which is, I'm good. I finally figured it out. I'm good. I'm going to chill. I'm going to go to Cabo, and I'm going to work on my game, play some pickup, and then you find out not so good.
Right.
So it could be either way. It remains to be seen. But it's encouraging for sure that he's come a long way.
Yeah, because at that size, look, and what
and
he can
strength,
do,
big strong guy,
very strong.
Yeah.
He can be a very key piece, and he should be, because with Jalen Brunson, you have some limitations defensively, right? So
yeah,
he should be an excellent complement for that. And this team, look, this is all gravy for the Knicks, right? Because I didn't think they were going to get past the first round anyway. So this has been could you imagine if they somehow find a way to come back and get to the conference finals? This is all learning points and reference points for this team, and they know what they need to add to get themselves better going forward. So kudos. Very, very happy for the Knicks. And by the way, again, the more aggressive team, the Knicks 40 free throw attempts, the Heat 19. Right? Like, you
more aggressive, but I never want to forget also just bad defense.
Well, as you said, the Heat are
stop
capable of
fouling.
messing up.
Stop fouling. Make them make the shot. Don't foul. I hammer that point.
An interesting coaching point. I know something that you say. Thorpe's rule number 1: don't foul.
Don't foul.
Do a lot
well, hold on. It's normally don't fucking foul.
Yes, don't fucking.
Depends who I'm talking to. I'd like to say it's to a middle school team, probably. I've said it to high school guys before. Don't fucking foul. Yeah.
It seems to me often when I'm watching, fouling is a result of 1, being tired, 2, not being in the proper defensive body position, right? You're like, you're not square, you're not in defensive, right? And so you reach, or guys come and you're not, right? And I wonder how much of it is that, right? You always talk about talling up and walling up and just not doing that, right? You're not in a position to do it, and it's too late because these guys come on you, and now you're in no man's land. You have to foul now because I was in a poor setup position, and that's on me for not being where I was as a defender.
Everything you said is right sometimes, because sometimes the offensive player just makes an amazing move, and you were in good position, and now you no longer are because of something brilliant he did. And so it's really a matter of discipline, because it's man, I want to make a play on the ball, but I probably shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Or I want to bump him here, but I probably shouldn't. And so you bump him, you get a call for a foul, you make a reach to try to get a piece of the ball. You might get it. It's all risk reward. Mm-hmm. And you don't, and you get called for the foul. So the word I use is discipline all the time. You have to be disciplined. Don't fucking foul. Slide, give up, slide backwards a little bit, cut them off if they want to take an angle, tall up at the end. Don't walk into them and go underneath them. Don't get in their landing zone. Don't swat. There's lots of things we can not do or do, like when you're racing to close out a shooter and you want to make him run him off the line, get to his side.
Yeah.
If you dump right at him, you might land in his landing zone.
100% land in landing zone.
There's all things you can do if you value not fouling. And I happen to value it a great deal. And I don't think these teams value it enough.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
folks, I will tell you. David says that to us all the time on the phone. Stop fucking fouling.
Don't fucking foul. Anyone that's ever worked with me or played for me knows. I mean, I wasn't this way in my 20s because I was stupid. I'm not stupid now. Don't fucking foul. But guys miss shots all the time.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing. Remember, the whole idea is blackjack. I'm trying to deal you a 16. But I'll take dealing a 12. I'm not going to go broke dealing 12s either.
Correct.
But when I foul you, you've just gone broke yourself. It's like the dealer. No casino would exist if the dealer had to draw first.
Yes.
So we would win every time they went. If they had a hit on 16, like because we of our face cards, like
yeah.
we would win a ton of money. They want us to bust first. Well, that's what the fouling is. You just gave them. You just busted your own hand. They were about to go bust. Yeah, don't foul.
I love it. Listen, it's good teaching points here, guys.
It is good.
Let's move on to the games tonight, David. Celtics were blown out at home in Game 5.
They were.
The 76ers. I didn't like anything I saw from the Celtics in that game. I just look. We've been saying it all the time, and I'm not telling you something's happening behind the scenes. I just don't like it. Like I don't like what I'm seeing from Tatum and Brown collectively. I don't like no matter what's going on, Draymond and Steph are always on the same page, right? Like there could be moments where maybe Steph's like, man, Draymond, why you got to be punching guys in the face? And he may not like that, but on the floor, them dudes are simpatico.
They are.
Jalen and Jason just aren't for whatever reason, and I don't like it.
I agree with you.
I just don't like it. Your two best guys, they don't need to be best friends and hanging out off court. I don't care about that. On the floor, I want them to be in sync. And because they're the best wing tandem in the league as far as talent goes. And it's very.
I thought Jalen Brown was bad defensively in some key stretches.
Very bad.
Going under screens when he shouldn't, not really trailing Maxey well enough and giving up. Horford was bad too. That didn't help. But to your point, the dynamic duo has not been so dynamic.
Been the opposite dynamic. It's just not been good. And we talked about this as well on the Sixers side. You're like, I don't know that we need James Harden to do 38 and 18 every night, and he probably can.
No, we do know he didn't need to do that.
Correct.
He needed Maxey to step up or someone like that. It was Maxey.
We wanted him to find a level, and I think I said it to you on the phone. I said, can he do 19 and 12 or something? And that's about what he did in that game, right? Facilitate, because he's, by the way, guys, James Harden is a brilliant basketball mind. Like, he led the league in assists multiple times. Like, he knows how to play make and get other guys involved. And he can knock down threes, which he did in that game. Got to the line 10 times as well. He does that. That's good. And, of course, Joel was outstanding on both ends of the floor. He had a chase down block. I was like, I didn't think he was going to run back and get it. I was like,
He's got that MVP juice.
He's on
that MVP juice now.
I like what I'm seeing from him. Look, Boston's in some real trouble, man. Game 6 in Philly. Look, it's obviously Boston won Game 3, so they can clearly win on the road in Philadelphia.
And they did this last year.
Yep, and Philly's capable of playing poorly, right? We've seen them play poorly before. But look, you have been high on Philadelphia and the Lakers all season, probably more so than anybody else in basketball media. And looks like David Thorpe knows what he's talking about, folks. He might know a thing or two about basketball.
Well, I was high on the roster. I was not high on Darvin Ham. I'm not so high on Doc. I was a big Doc fan when he was a younger coach. I'm not convinced now.
We talked about this. You think like as you age, you get a little bit more rigid, and you're like, less opportunity to be like, let's try some different things and do. Different stuff.
I'm basing it on people inside Philadelphia who are telling me, that's not great. It's just his command isn't great. I'm not suggesting it's easy to coach Joel Embiid, James Harden.
Probably not.
Yeah. And Tyrese, who's trying to get a max deal now.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I don't think Doc has been terrible by any stretch. He's been fine, and that's worked. Missoula's the first-year coach, and I think they've been lacking Udoka's pointed focus. I felt like with Boston, you might have found. I thought they could be a little too rigid, but you knew what they were about. Like their identity was very well established. I don't see that in Boston.
I agree.
And Jalen's effort defensively, Jason Tatum. When has there been a Tatum game? Seriously, when has there been a Tatum game? He's certainly capable of it. What was the All NBA this year?
He was first team. He made
first team again.
Yeah,
I believe it's 2 years in a row.
Correct.
Like we know what he's got. Did Jalen make it? By the way,
no. Jalen didn't make any All NBA.
Wow, he didn't make third team.
I'm pretty sure. Let me pull it up.
Because there were some prominent Celtics announcers, media people who were trying to get it so they could offer him the Supermax and keep him or get value for him. And if he didn't make it, wow.
All right.
They were definitely preaching.
Yeah. No, he.
No second. Who was third team?
Third team was LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron, Julius Randle, Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Second team was Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler. Oh, yes, no, Jalen Brown did make it. He made second team. There he is. He made second team.
He got his wish.
He
He probably deserved. I'm not arguing with that.
So that further illustrates our point. You have two All-NBA dudes.
First and second team.
Right?
The best wing duo in the league. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. They have a lot, and they're loaded with talent too. These teams are loaded. They are. All of them loaded. And we'll see if Boston. You're not wrong. And it's not going to be easy. Sixers fans are going to go nuts. The team is excited.
Very excited.
They've got lots of weapons too.
Joel, this is the closest he's been to the conference finals since the Kawhi miracle shot that bounced 80 bajillion times and went in.
Yep.
And I know how heartbreaking that was for Joel. He can smell it now. He's like, one game.
And there's no Milwaukee on the other side.
No Milwaukee. Whoever wins this series has got to feel like we're going to beat whoever comes out of that series.
I would think that.
Right? And they're going to be favored for sure.
I think they're the two best teams.
Yeah. So this is...
Woo. I know Vegas doesn't.
Well, we'll get to Vegas in a minute.
We'll get to that, but I think they are.
They're outstanding. And so Missoula, defensively, I think, is where we're not seeing the same fire that Udoka gave them on that end of the floor, right? They had an identity, to your point. Rigid to a point which we didn't like. You should have adjusted in the finals.
Right.
But they knew what they were.
Right. I would say that, and I thought they were more pointed offensively. I don't even know what the metrics are. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just think they're looser. And I thought they were tighter, maybe too tight, but I thought they were tighter with Udoka, who had a whole season like Missoula did. Mm-hmm. Was that his first year?
That was Udoka's first year coaching.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Just like Missoula. But Udoka had been around the NBA much longer than Missoula has.
That's true.
Now, Missoula was a head coach in college, so he has head coaching experience, but that's different than the NBA. And I think the way in which it happened, remember how I said at the beginning of the year, David, I was like, at some point I feel like this is going to affect them. I was like, they're either going to come out hot and be like, we're going to band behind this guy, or we're going to go through a lull. And it never happened in the regular season. Maybe it's surfacing now because those guys talk about still how much they love Udoka and like his coaching philosophy. And like,
do you think Jalen Brown liked Udoka a lot? Has he ever talked about it?
Loved Udoka.
Houston's got a bunch of money.
Look at David throwing out conspiracy theories.
Well, I mean, he can get the Supermax, so that's why they lobbied him so much to get it.
So they know.
Houston can't match that. So maybe if there's any man of principle that would not take the money, not that I'm suggesting they do it.
Right.
He's that guy.
He might do it.
He's a contrarian that way. Yeah. In the best way.
He just might. No, listen, this is Bears watching. Look, the series is not over. Again, Boston can win and Game 7 is on their floor. So but Game 6 tonight, I'm looking for if Harden is doing this thing, if Maxey, and again, those guys, I mean, Maxey's better than a role player, but younger players tend to play better at home, right, than they do on the road. And Maxey's excellent in Boston. If he's firing on all cylinders and Joel's doing his thing and Harden's just orchestrating, and I want to give a shout out to PJ Tucker, by the way. He somehow, David, finds a way to come up with a rebound every time He
really has a hot motor.
God, it's like, and he's old. He's like 37 or something like that. Like,
he's a great success story. He was out of the league like 5 years after his rookie year in Toronto as a second-round pick, and he's made a nice career out of for himself.
And it's just will and want to. He puts his body. Like, he doesn't care. I'm getting that motherfucking rebound, and he gets it.
He's super tough. Super tough.
Look again. I'm gonna be watching for that. If the Sixers come out and they're really feeling good, I'm gonna be watching the sidelines of Boston to see you guys gonna drop the rope here and get.
I thought about that too.
I
thought about that too. They just want to get the season over with. Yeah, I thought about it. We'll see. See what kind of resolve they have in the third quarter.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Nuggets Suns. Nuggets, the big Game 5 win at home, blow out the Phoenix Suns. They're up 3-2. Game 6 tonight. Look, we talked about this. You talked about it. We love KD as a player. But when you trade for a guy like that, you got to give up your depth, right? So when that happens, for the Suns to win, KD and Book have to play very good to excellent, because if they don't, they have zero chance. That's what happened in Game 5. They were not very good. Lost. Yeah. Lost big. Because you cannot count on DeAndre Ayton. He has not been good this series.
No.
We talked about that fifth starter. That's just a nothing spot. And Chris Paul's out. So we're talking about Campaign.
Right.
Ish Wainwright, Landry Shamet, I mean, that's not going to beat the Denver Nuggets.
Not if they play well.
And so that to me is what game 6 in Phoenix is about. Durant and Booker play well, they'll probably win. They don't, it's going to be on to the conference finals for Denver.
Yeah, they've got to slow down Denver's offense. I mean, Jokic obviously can be so problematic, and Murray can too.
So good this post.
Maybe playing better defense and getting back early and all of that gives them some confidence offensively. To the other side, Denver thinking, okay, let's get a good start. Let's give ourselves a chance to feel like we're in the game the whole game and let our talent with Jokic and playing through Jokic go through. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be must-watch TV. I have no idea what's going to happen.
And let our depth come through, right? Because that's what Denver has. I mean, Bruce Brown had 25 points in that game, right?
That was big.
There is no one I can see on the Phoenix Suns bench, although Landry Shamet did play well in game 4.
Right.
Who I'm like, right? Like, who, besides Shamet, who am I like, who can give me 25 points? TJ Warren? Terrence Ross?
Not anymore.
I just
probably not anymore.
That's something to watch. And Ayton, look, you talked about players who might not be around next season. He's another one who might not be around on this team next season. The problem is, of course, you're selling low, right? Like he's under contract, but you're gonna move him at a time where people are like, this guy's not good. Why do I want to trade for him? Right. But in the NBA, it only takes one. So all you need is one team to agree. Let's look at updated title odds. Right now, as according to Las Vegas, the Denver Nuggets are favorites at plus 280, followed by the 76ers at plus 325. Celtics and Lakers tied at plus 400. Then it's Warriors plus 800, Suns plus 1,200. And these teams are off the championship bus for us, but they're there. Heat plus 1,600 and the Knicks plus 6,000. So you want to really go for a long shot, bet the Knicks. We know that ain't happening. But there's still good money out there, David, on the two teams you like the best, which are the Celtics and Lakers. Celtics and 76ers.
Celtics and Sixers, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, Denver's the favorite, though, right?
Plus 280.
Yeah.
Which is still good odds. You bet 100, you win 280. Still pretty good.
Yeah. I don't get hangovers. I don't bet. I wouldn't mind the latter. I probably go to Summer League this summer. I won't be betting anything. Maybe I'll play. I used to love blackjack, but then Summer League I don't do it. But yeah, I mean those are the East teams to me are good bets.
You like them.
Those two East teams are good bets.
You think even a matchup I'd love to see in the finals would be Denver and Philly. The two-time MVP versus the current MVP at the men, right? To settle the debate once and for all, right? Even though it's not how it works, but
battle of the footers.
Battle of the footers. I'd love to see that. And you would favor Philly in that series.
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think no matter what, whoever comes out of the East, Celtics or Sixers will be better than the Nuggets, or potentially if it's the Lakers or Warriors.
I would make them the favorites. Yeah. If Golden State, Draymond keeps scoring 20,
then you don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's see. We got a few more games for that to happen.
Okay, very good. One quick thing before we get to our top 5 players in the playoffs. I'm always harping on the NBA being the best league in the world, and we have to be thinking about the future of the league and always make it, try to make it the best we possibly can. The NFL releases its schedule at some point today, and some of the games have already leaked out. And I bring that up to say I already know there's going to be a game on Christmas Day because it's Monday night. And the NBA used to own Christmas Day, right? That was their day. Even this year, there were NFL games on Christmas. And my point is to Adam Silver and everybody else in the NBA offices, got to stop running scared of the NFL. They clearly don't give a shit about you. They will put their games up against yours head to head and not think twice about it.
We've been saying that. They're not scared of them.
All right. So you got to flip it around and be like, well, fuck it. Like, we can't be scared either, right? Like, do whatever to make sure we're getting eyeballs on our sport and our game because it's lovely. But, that's a different conversation for a different day. All right, David, top 5 players in the postseason. Number 5, who you got?
All right, my friend. I've got the MVP.
Ooh, Nikola Jokic. Or Joel Embiid.
No.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah. No, the real MVP should have been Jokic.
Look at that. Freudian slip by me.
The selected MVP, Joel Embiid. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he's been terrific.
So, of course, as always, I cheat because I can't pick 5 guys. So on my 5 line, I have 3 players. Anthony Davis, Jalen Brunson, Joel Embiid.
Okay. Not bad. I'm going to go number 4. I kind of have a rule about when I rank these things, where's your team? Mm-hmm. So I've dropped Booker to number 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because his team's down 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4 for me, Steph Curry.
Good pick. Again, my rule, they're down.
They're
so
down.
I can't do them.
Makes sense.
Number 3, I've got AD. He's been terrific on both ends.
Excellent.
And valuable too. How about you?
I penalize AD having it fifth because of the off and on games, right? It's like some games are
Fair
good.
enough.
Number 3, even though he had a bad game last night, or non-aggressive game, Jimmy Butler.
Hits my number 2.
Number 2 for me is Book. Yes, they're down 3-2, but he has been outstanding this postseason.
Yeah.
Which means we have the same player as number 1.
I've got Jokic.
Yes, that's what we have, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Harden has had a couple incredible games,
but he's had a couple duds.
I don't care about I'm not arguing with you. For me, I don't care about the duds when you lose, as long as you keep having enough big ones when you win.
You win. Fair enough.
Right? Right. It's like in match play golf.
Yeah.
You can beat me by 10.
Right.
It only counts as one loss
Correct.
of a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jokic is,
yes.
Tonight will be huge.
He's averaging 30, 13, and 9 on 56,
Is he really?
47, 78 splits. 59 and 61 effective field goal and shooting off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
He's stupid. Like, he's just been.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it. I just haven't, because I'm not smart to think down the road like that. Embiid versus Jokic would be.
That'd be fun.
Classic old school center basketball.
Just let them bang each other, and I love it. This would be great. This would be great.
Maybe Giannis could be the third official. So of the last 5 MVP winners all on the court.
Giannis is officiating. He's calling fouls all the time. He's like, wait, what? I let a foul.
Let's get all three of them in the same time.
No, that'll be good. Listen, this weekend will be great, and we'll have conference finalists set by the time Monday rolls around for Monday's show. My God.
And for everyone out there that's fortunate enough to either have their mom still alive or be married to a mom, or if you're a mom listening, happy Mother's Day.
Correct.
I don't get to do Father's Day anymore with my dad. He's not with us. So I made a point to try to be nicer to my mom. I'm not the best son. I'm fine. We're fine, but I could be better. I'm just being honest. And we've got a nice Mother's Day weekend for her. My brother's flying up. She's going to hang with a lot of family. We're going to have a party for her.
Nice.
Because she's 81, and I don't know, she's doing great, but I'm not taking anything for granted anymore.
Well, just by sheer math, more years behind than in front.
Right.
That's just how math works, right? So shout out to Mama Thorpe and all the mothers out there. I'll be calling my mother on Sunday because she lives in Florida, and I will not be going down there.
Where in Florida does she live?
She's in the Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We talked about this.
I can't remember. I'm too old.
I know you forget.
She's not northern Fort Lauderdale?
No.
Like near Miami?
Yeah, south.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, listen, I went down to visit them a couple of weeks ago, last month, and I was like, because it was still cold up here, I was like, guys, you picked a pretty good place for me to come at least visit. You're 10 minutes from the beach. I'm like, might be.
Yeah, exactly. We're literally 90 all week. We may get some rain, maybe, and that's why we're getting a new roof. 90 degrees every freaking day.
Now
dry. It's dry right now. Humidity's coming.
Yeah.
And when it comes, it's relentless. Like, it never leaves. Never leaves. So we're kind of dry in the shade right now. It's not so bad until the middle of the day. But yeah, once the humidity comes, which will be about a month from now, it's pool time.
Listen,
Coach pool. If I should have picked a sport where I could coach in the pool.
Listen. Yeah.
I know you did it. I didn't. I had to be in a gym, which back in the day wasn't air conditioned typically. Nowadays, everything's air conditioned at least.
Well, at least in Florida, you're lucky, right? Your pools are all outdoors. When you coach swimming in the Northeast, you're inside all day, which is fucking terrible.
We have a few inside ones, but most of them are outdoors and very warm.
All right, everyone, enjoy the weekend. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Take care.